All right, well, we're going to get going because we want to be mindful of everybody's time. Thank you so much for joining us for our 9th session of EAMC at Home, which is the Event and Arena Marketing Conference's virtual webinar series. Today, we have a great group of guests, and we want to make this interactive. That's why we decided to do a town hall. So we're asking all of you to raise your hand and answer, or you can send questions to any of the moderators or the panelists, and we will try to get to all of your questions. And we want you to be able to offer input, because I know a lot of you are doing activations and drive-ins in your own markets. So just a couple real quick things. You can unmute yourself. We do ask that you mute yourself until after the when we open it up to questions, then you can unmute yourself. And we will be recording this, and we will be posting it on the EAMC message board on Facebook, as well as all of our social platforms. We have a holiday mixer, December 17th, if you'd like to join us. So check that out. And that is on all the platforms right now to register. We also have a new podcast called Adventures in Venue Land. And we have about 3 or 4 episodes up. It's a bi-monthly podcast hosted by Paul Hooper and Dave Riddleberger, and it profiles different people in the industry. So we'd love for you guys to check that out on anywhere where you download podcasts. So my name is Vanessa Kromer, and I am the Vice President of Communications for Nederlander Concerts. I'm also extremely involved with the Event and Arena Marketing Conference. And so we put together this session since it's obviously very topical. And I'm going to co-host this with Jessica Runyon with Ticketmaster, and she'll introduce herself in a moment. First, we're going to kick it off with Jordan Harding, who is the General Manager for City National Grove of Anaheim, which is a Nederlander Concerts exclusive property. And Jordan, I just wanted to have you give us a quick overview about Drive-In OC, if you can explain to us what it is and how it's different than maybe some other drive-ins in other markets. Jordan, oops, frozen?
Sure, Vanessa, thank you. And hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. And can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, yeah, you're good.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, obviously in Anaheim, I promised myself I would not use the P word. So we swiveled back in March, as many of you did, to pursue this drive-in model, which at the time I thought was just a crazy idea and had no chance of success. But we really put pen to paper and really a collaborative effort from all of us at Nederlander to figure out how to make this happen, and just grateful for the support of Alex Hodges, our CEO, and Jimmy Nederlander, and also the city of Anaheim. It really goes back to the counties and the health departments and the cities, and they've been very supportive of our model, and we're very appreciative of that. But we've been hosting events, drive-in events in our parking lot, the City National Grove of Anaheim, since July. And we're up to, I think 61 events now total on the books, almost 12,000 cars we've sold for, we've grossed over $3 million so far. So a business that we didn't think was possible, has become possible. And obviously it's not a sustainable solution for us to stay in business. It's been a stopgap solution to help keep our staff employed, stay engaged, keep the community uplifted, and continue doing what we love to do, which is presenting live entertainment for our community.
Jordan, your mic is kind of going in and out a little bit, and I know that you've been having a little bit of issues. I don't know if there's anything you can turn up the volume.
I guess I can talk louder.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry about that. Does that give you kind of a brief overview, or do you want me to expand on that a little bit more, Vanessa?
Yeah, can you just share a little bit about maybe how does the drive-in model work for the Grove, which might be different than other markets?
Yeah, I think we are able to leverage the fact that we're doing it in our parking lot. So we use a lot of our facilities from inside the building, not only the restrooms, but also in terms of video mixing. We utilize the stage. The VIP room we use is our VIP lounge we use is a green room. So we're able to leverage aspects of having the facility adjacent to the parking lot. In addition, the health department has been supportive of our model. We have a mobile app that we developed where fans can order, food, beverage, and merchandise all from the comfort and safety of their car or their designated zone, and then we deliver all of that to them. So they don't have to leave their zone at any time unless they're using the restroom, in which case we actually have a virtual queue for that. So they go onto the app and they put themselves in line virtually for the restroom. And then we sanitize it obviously between every guest, but that's something that's really been the key to bringing the drive-in experience in Anaheim together and make it a cohesive, safe and responsible experience. I think we try to think through sort of everything, every aspect to make sure it's as contactless as possible. We've been able to sell, fortunately, alcohol. So we're selling everything from, we have food trucks, we're selling beer, wine, liquor, cocktails. We just got our new LED blinking light souvenir cups in today. So we're excited to roll those out for our show tomorrow. And this mobile app just really allows us to take advantage of all of the ancillary revenues and do it in a safe and responsible way. It's kind of like every guest rolls up and has basically table service. They order whatever they want, they get it brought right to them. They don't have to go stand in lines, they don't have to congregate. It's just a really seamless experience for the guest, and something that I think has been the key for us.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to hand it over now to Jessica.
Hi guys, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
As Vanessa mentioned, I'm helping co-host today with EAMC. I'm also client marketing with Ticketmaster. And, just to jump in and kind of spin off of what Jordan shared, we have a number of key speakers today, one of which is Adam Epstein with Innovation Arts and Entertainment. He's the CEO there. And I know, Adam, your team truly does wake up every day, thinking about innovative entertainment, just like your name. And when it comes to too risky or a challenge, which has been a theme I hear a lot the last several months especially, I think that's something you guys are known for not being afraid of. So I think it'd be great if you could sort of take us through what your experiences have been there in Cape Cod, as well as I know you're looking at some other markets and already in some other markets, and just kind of set us up for some of the background on what you've seen working and what's led to your success.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you all, actually. This has always been obviously challenges we've all faced in trying to figure out what we're going to do to get by on a day-by-day basis. And when we woke up in March and had to cancel everything, it was trying to figure out what we were going to do to pay the bills. And the only thing we could see was trying to figure something out that created a COVID safety compliant venue and building something that allowed fans and bands to get back together again safely, right? And that was the only thing that was going to excite bands and fans all to gather together, right? I think the general public is concerned about gathering together, and we needed to give them the confidence that they were going to enter a space that we had their backs, right? So, and the artists, if they're going to step up and do this, they need to know that they're protected as well. So we wanted to build infrastructure and systems that gave people the confidence that they were safe again. And we knew that if we did, that we'd get the buy-in. And it was the kind of thing that you try your best to do good work. And if you do the good work, you hope it comes back to you. You don't have any sort of guarantees or commitments. And that's the world of being a promoter, right? We put it out there and we hope it comes back to us. And that's really what we focus on as a company, is like really committing to doing good work and putting a real strong belief in good faith, and that the work we do will deliver long-term results for us. And in Yarmouth, we were given the privilege of working on an actual drive-in concert, a drive-in site that had been abandoned 40 years ago. It was a drive-in movie theater that was decommissioned in 1986, and we had the opportunity to reinvigorate it and bring it back to life but there was nothing there. It was a vacant lot that had been abandoned. And we were given no infrastructure, no power, no resources, no water, no nothing. And we had to build something from scratch and make it work. So we were scrambling as best we could from the day we got our license granted to us on June 16th to try to open in time to have a productive summer. So we set a target date of July 12th to open up the venue. And we were able to both procure, build, and open within about 2.5 weeks. And we learned on the fly. We had no idea what we were doing. I mean, we just were committed to trying everything we could to create that safe environment, once again, for the fans and bands. And we improved every day. We learned as a result of doing it over and over again and trying our best to improve. And along the way, we built a system that people were confident in. They enjoyed themselves out there. There were some compromises that everybody bought into. And that was kind of the thrill, is like everybody coming out and appreciating what we did. And I know those of you that had the privilege of building drive-ins too, you saw smiles on artists' faces that you probably haven't seen in a while. And it was like authentic passion reinvigorated again, where people were like so excited to be able to be on stage and share what they do. And that fed us. I mean, my team and I just, it woke us up every day with a smile. I mean, even in the middle of a pandemic, we were hemorrhaging, right? But at the same time, that energy that we got from the fans coming through the doors and the people on stage gave us that energy to keep going every day. And I think it fed back into the passion that we heard from agents and managers, where they felt what we felt. And as a result, we ended up doing 44 concerts from July 31st until October 20 something. We had about 60,000 people on the site. We grossed about $2.5 million in ticket sales. We also built our own, similar to you, Jordan, we built our own e-commerce system from the ground up in order to enable contactless concessions and merchandise sales. I'm envious of your ability to sell alcohol. It was not something we were afforded on the Cape. And had we done that, we probably would have ended in the black. We were a little bit under, and we think the alcohol sales would have been really instrumental in achieving that success. But ultimately, we built a system that people believed in, and it brought people back again and again. And I'm sure that you guys felt to a degree that you had to deliver an experience that made people not do it for novelty, but do it because they were truly entertained in an authentic way, right? And we were worried that they'd kick the tires once and never come back. But we had people coming, we had incredible return visitors. We had people that bought tickets to 8 individual shows over the summer, right? They just kept coming back and back. We'd get people from Boston coming over and over again. And I think it was a tribute to how much hard work our team put together in understanding what the audience was looking for and understanding what the bands were looking for and finding that happy ground in the middle.
That's awesome, Adam. And I think you hit on that was a great background. And I think it hits on a number of themes that I know Vanessa and I both want to touch on today in the hour that we have. Now, I think 45 minutes, we want to make sure we're touching on the themes of, like you said, what are you able to sell? Were you able to sell alcohol? How did you do that? And how did that end up, in the end, I know in some cases we also sold merch, and how did we do the contactless? And like you said, also the fan excitement and communication, how did that go? So I think let me run through, I'm going to touch on some of the other key speakers on the call so we get everyone's background covered. And then I'd love for us to continue on those same themes so that we're all learning from each other. Because like you said, you were learning as you go and you weren't afraid to take some risk. It definitely was. And in the end, it paid off. Also on the call, I want to give another big intro to Ken Hudgens. Ken, likely many of you in the industry know Ken. He's been around a very long time and has a lot of experience to give us. I think when we say some of us are new to the drive-in experience or drive-through, Ken brings a lot of experience because it's not a new theme for you, Ken. And he most recently CEO with Raycom, but also working with the Hot Wheels experience as well as Magic of Light. So Ken, I think, we've heard from Adam and Jordan, and love to hear from you a little bit of background with both of your experiences to set us up today.
Great. I always love to be introduced as you've been around a long, long time. So yeah, good to see some names and faces out of the past. So my history briefly is I ran the motorsports divisions for Pace, SFX, Clear Channel, Live Nation, and Feld up until 2016. I left Feld in March of 2016 and currently own and am partners in two distinct companies. One that is in the drive-through business full-time and one that has flipped the business to drive-through. So I think I have a fairly good sort of perspective from both ends of this. You know, as a drive-through operator in my normal life, and the other one as somebody who's trying to adapt to drive-through system. And really, before I get into it, the folks that do all the work for us are on the phone. Janice Jimenez on the Hot Wheels side and Brett Pegler on the Magic of Lights side. So I'll start with Magic of Lights. The company is called Fun Guys. And in 2016, when I left Feld, I was trying to figure out sort of what to do with myself. And a couple of things resonated for me: pets and holidays, until I wrote out my non-compete. Pets and holidays are sort of timeless, and you don't have to license the intellectual property. So we started with 3 sort of test events in 2016, 1.5 drive-through light shows. We rented the lights and put them up and see if we liked the business. We did. 2017, we felt like we needed to own the content because renting content in that kind of environment turned out to be a little sketchy. So we manufactured and built 7 full 1.5 drive-through light shows, owned ourselves. And so went about building those over the years. So this year we're doing 11 across North America. And I know these numbers are a little outlandish. This year is a particularly good year, but we'll do probably 700,000 cars at an average of 4.5 people a car. So you're talking about 3 million people through these attractions. And they're really more akin to attractions. It's where we and my partners come from the arena and stadium business. So we do a lot of arenas and stadiums, parking lots, layouts. So we're at, for example, Foxborough and Gillette Stadium. We do their auxiliary parking lot. We also do Daytona Motor Speedway through the underneath the grandstands. And we do, state parks. So it's kind of up and down the gamut. The drive-through business is totally different than a normal arena business. You got to worry some more, again, more kind of like a parking operation at that scale when you're doing 3,000 to 5,000 cars a night than it is a normal event. But all of the business tentacles are the same. The revenue streams are tickets, merchandise, food and beverage, sponsorship. There's really not a whole lot of television or OTT or anything yet, although it's a growth area. So that's one thing. And then kind of probably more relevant to this discussion. And so Brett Pegler, who's on the call, does all the marketing, like Brett, all the ticketing. Brett does everything. He's sort of a rock star, so nobody try to steal him on this call. The Hot Wheels thing is totally different. We are an arena touring operation. We have a license with Mattel, and we do a monster truck show. That's my history. We launched in 2019. We did 25 domestic dates, 350,000 people. This year we were on to 30 domestic dates, 5 international dates, and 500,000 people. Did our last performance in Rockford on March 1st. And we really weren't doing anything. We toyed with doing some outdoor fairground type shows, and that's really not a business I wanted to be in. the origin story of us flipping this to a drive-through is I took my niece and my wife to Dinosaur Adventure at the DuPage County Fairgrounds on September 3rd, and drove through it and went, I can do this. We got the team together. We had success at Toyota Arena. It was close to Mattel's home office. They loaned us their Garage of Legends. We augmented it with 30 or 40 monster trucks and created a 2-mile Hot Wheels experience that opened last week. And, it sounds like a lot of the same kind of thing that some of the folks who have flipped over to stuff here, which is you're taking something that depends on motion and a shared experience, and you're putting it into a static, non-shared experience thing, which is not easy. So things like an audio track and, trying to interact with the folks on the course and, having lights and stuff that moves around when the vehicles can't is all important. But again, it's the same business as we're in now: tickets, merchandise, upsells. There's no food and beverage because we can't, and where we're at in Southern California, sponsorship, et cetera. So it's been really good. We're going to do more of that until the touring business gets back in order. And then, as I said, I'm a lifer for the drive-through business. I love it. And we'll be, probably taking it from 11 to 20 holiday light shows next year. So that's what we're doing.
It's awesome, incredible. And I think it hits home when you say, I had an idea in September and now you're already fully set up and everything. And also, I think you, as we expected, hit on a number of things we want to touch on today across this group, and the challenges and the differences in the two experiences, because there's timed entry challenges, and some events are timed entry and some you can show up whenever you want. And so that in itself is unique. And also, kind of to your point, how do we, there was a risk there, right? A lot of that in just saying, hey, this doesn't exist today, but I think I can connect some dots here and take a risk. So we'll definitely want to dig into some of that with you and help the larger audience here learn from some of those key learnings we've had. Jesse, who is on the line, I want to connect and transition just a little, speaking of something that is brand new. Jesse Greenberg is the president with Encore Live and another key speaker today. And he's truly, and his team, created a brand new experience and a very unique model that we've not seen. And I think many of us, it was new to the scene. So Jesse, would love for you to give us a little bit of background to complement the conversation, and then we're going to open it up so that we have some big discussion.
Great. Thanks, Jess.
For sure.
Name's Jesse Greenberg. I'm the president of Encore Live and Encore Drive-In Nights. Just the background on our pivot was Encore Live. Background was in putting on large scale live events for brands, and then internal organizations, annual leadership, national sales, culture diversity meetings. So of course, when pandemic hit, the thought was just to pivot everything to virtual and tried our ways there and have been successful in doing some of those. But really it wasn't until the middle of May when we kind of came up with this idea around a central thesis was just, the biggest artists in the world were not going to be able to get in front of, tens of thousands of people, arenas or stadiums. At that time, we said the fall of 2021. And at the same point, they weren't going to go and play a one-off drive-in concert for only 400 cars. It just wasn't big enough scale. So how could we create scale? And so that's what started Encore Drive-In Nights, where it's how could we bring the biggest stars in music on one night only events, exclusive content, exclusive concerts just made for them across the whole entire continent, US and Canada. And so that's what formed, which was we came up with the idea on May 12th, and on June 11th on Good Morning America, Garth Brooks announced the first drive-in concert across 300 different venues in North America. Off the heels of that, we then did a concert with Blake Shelton, with Gwen Stefani and Trace Adkins. We did Metallica, and then Kane Brown with some other up-and-coming country stars. Across the 4 shows, we had over 900,000 attendees. We put on 1,152 individual events. We had across the 21,000 attendees that were surveyed, we had a 95% overall satisfaction rate, 95% on feeling safe, and would want to return to another show. Over 10% of our purchases were customers that have bought for multiple shows, and we saw tons of people buying in across the different genres of music as well. And so we had participating across the whole summer was 330 venues out of 48 out of 50 states across 6 continents. And for us, it was, we didn't know much stepping in. It was just a crazy idea. And I have an incredibly talented team. We are small, but very mighty. And the interesting thing is that, as opposed to the indoor movie operators where you make one phone call and you can get into 500 different theaters, every single drive-in is basically a single owner. So of the 330 different venues, we were probably talking to 300 different owners. And so we had to build out a program that tied that all together, that was, was really financially aligned between them and us, especially in a weird summer for them, where they were not getting the content that they were used to getting from the movie studios. And so for us, it was really an opportunity to bring people that had never didn't know where their local drive-in was, but to bring them to the drive-in for an amazing, one night only experience that this summer really did act as a substitute to a live event. But we saw so many, I think Adam talked about just the joy he got out of it, and what we saw on those nights of the show when we were sitting I didn't get to attend any. We were sitting in command centers, making sure that the 300 plus shows that were happening across the country were going off. But we saw just the commentary that people were just so happy to be able to get out of their homes, that we're having a fantastic time, and in a community in a safe way, being able to do something and do something that really is supposed to be enjoyed in that shared type of way. I think Jordan had spoke that this might not be sustainable for the go forward, but what we feel as though we've cracked is really spearheading a new category of experience. And so there's certain content that we know can be viewed at home alone and by ourselves, like movies. We're used to that. But when it comes to music, it really is a community experience. So if we look at the spectrum of experiences in a post-COVID world, where when we're back in, stadiums and arenas in the tens of thousands, and then we look at the other side of the spectrum, which is the at-home kind of pay-per-views, we actually think that we sit somewhere, in the middle. From a price per person basis, we're probably about 6 times less than buying a ticket to a stadium and arena show, and it's a different effort level to go to one of our concerts. You get to put whatever you want in your car, pull on in, enjoy a great concert, and get out without a lot of the frictions with a live show. And the really interesting part is where our theaters and venues are located, which has been pretty awesome, is that they really represent a new buyer. 67% of our venues are located in heavily rural areas or secondary towns. And so we're activating a new customer that's not there on the traditional touring routes for the biggest stars. Either it's not accessible to them because of the price point, or it's something that's just too far of a drive. And if people are only going to 1 or 2 big time arena or stadium shows, this becomes something that is, can become something more of their model of how they live their life, and a fun kind of unique experience to choose to do on a whim if there are tickets available. So we're really excited. This past summer has been great. We're planning right now actively our 2021 series, and we're currently implementing live streaming capabilities at all of our drive-in venues. So when festivals return, when live touring returns, we really think of ourselves as an unbelievable distribution point for all those live events. And people can come together in a safe way, in a community feel, and still have a great night out enjoying their favorite artists.
Yes, I
That's great.
couldn't agree more with you. And I think it definitely does have a community feel. And even though you are next to your car, like you are at Drive-In OC, or in your car at some other places, once you start listening to the music or seeing the event, you really are in it. It gives you a break from all the madness that's happening in the world, and you really feel like you're at a live event. And one thing that I wanted to share is we have Jace with us, Jace Cohen, who's the co-founder of Verse Entertainment. He's been working with Nederlander concerts a lot this year to bring us a lot of different acts that, especially for the City National Grove of Anaheim, which is a 1,700 seat theater, wouldn't typically get, because these acts are mainstream, arena level, stadium level artists that are playing now our parking lot in Little Anaheim. And so Jace, can you kind of tell us what attracted you to kind of partnering with Nederlander, and what is the artist perspective of doing a drive-in?
Hello, everyone. Jace Cohen of Versa Entertainment, formerly of Live Nation and also Insomniac Events, where it focused mainly on electronic music. And basically when March hit, a lot of people in the electronic music world and DJs in general didn't really know what to do. These guys are used to touring, 250, 300 days a year, clubs all around the world, constantly on the move. So they really kind of immediately turned on their webcams and started live streaming in, and they weren't really seeing too much of substantial revenue there, especially when, everyone in the industry, in the electronic music world, everyone was pretty much doing everything for free constantly. So they've been constantly looking for new outlets and new revenue streams. Saw this as an opportunity. There wasn't many people bringing, some drive-ins that started to pop up with, some of the events, like you had mentioned about Metallica and Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani. But there hadn't been any large-scale electronic events just yet, and saw this as an opportunity. And around the same time, my friends at Nederlander had opened up this incredible drive-in venue down in Anaheim called Drive-In OC at City National Grove, and they invited me down, and I came down to check out a Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness show, and I was just totally blown away by this new concept of a concert where, you stay in your car, everything is brought to you in a contactless environment, merch, food, beverages, you queue up through the app to get in line for the bathroom. When it's your turn, they text you and say, all right, your turn's up. You put on your mask, head out there, head back to your car. And it was just a really cool experience. So I took that and started talking to a lot of the artists I work with, the agents and managers, and they were really open to the idea. And we, and before this, we were doing close to 300, 400, up to 400 shows a year between all these nightclubs, festivals, cruise ships, concerts, everything across the board. And I started taking this to some of the DJs, and it got a good response, and started to see that it could translate well to a drive-in show. So we started booking acts just only in September of this year, but since then, between the Grove and a few other venues that we worked with, we've already had 25 nights of electronic music on the books so far, and we have been shooting 100% so far, as in every single show we've booked so far has been completely sold out. So I think that goes to show you the level of demand that we have, especially here in Southern and Northern California, for that type of music. And when it comes to the experience, for the electronic events, we really try to make it more of a festival style experience. So we bring in extra production, extra LED, extra lighting and sound that these ticket buyers are used to. Anything to give it that extra feel, with like lasers and CO2 and streamers. Our partners at Nederlander have been really helpful in helping create that type of environment that I was looking to recreate for the fans that attend these types of events. And Also working with the artists, I think one big revenue stream they found is merchandise, which has been outselling many of their normal shows and festivals because of this contactless environment, no more waiting in lines. Basically anything you want at any time, you go on your phone, hit a few buttons, and it's at your car within 60 seconds. So we see a lot higher sales in food and beverage and merchandise. And we've been working with artists to come up with custom merch content, custom visuals and different kinds of branding for their hoodies and t-shirts and anything they want to sell, everything kind of very special, customized, drive-in related. And even when it comes down to food and beverage, we worked with an artist who wanted to have a certain kind of cuisine at the event. So we brought in different caterers for different events, and we can change the menu. If an artist has a special drink they want to sell, we can brand it with their name on the drink itself. So it really gives a lot more creative control to the artists, and we partner with them because we want to create these really cool custom ideas together. And looking in the future, we're always looking to bring these types of events to new markets outside of California. I mean, we're really lucky that we're here because we can go year round with the weather. But in the spring, as it starts to turn, we would like to, start bringing these shows to more markets, and especially find larger cap venues that can hold, upwards of 700 to 1,000, 1,300, 1,400 cars would be the goal. So that's what we're looking for in the future, and I think we're going to be able to get there.
Yeah, definitely. We've had, my gosh, we have a show Friday night with you, and it's basically going to sell out again. So thank you. And I have a question I want to answer. It's from Megan Ebeck. This is probably more for the Nederlander marketing team, who is also on. She asked if the market, especially in California, with the restrictions changing weekly, which is funny because this week has been a roller coaster, as you know, with the California lockdown. And I can speak, I think, for every single person on here who's done a drive-in. Doing one drive-in show is equal to doing 10. It is so much work, and the restrictions change by the minute. And so in terms of the marketing and the planning, I'm going to ask Jamie Loeb and Quinn to jump in here and to kind of share with us how the COVID restrictions have kind of altered our marketing.
Hi, everybody. Jamie Loeb with Nederlander Concerts. It's we're running on a reduced staff, which I think most people are at this point. So we've had to kind of take on duties that we didn't necessarily have before. And so I'm answering, contact us at citynationalgroveofanaheim.com email address, and Quinn's answering info@ and all of the social stuff. So in addition to our day jobs, we're doing a lot of customer service, and it is about, so we have to make sure that we're up to speed on what the current regulations are. And Jordan, it has been masterful at disseminating the information. He's the one that's in touch with the city, the county, the health department, the police department, everything in the markets that we're going into. And it's really just making sure that we're all in communication and on the same page so that we are giving correct information and making people feel as safe as possible, letting them know the attention to detail that we're giving in order to make them feel safe in attending our events. Quinn?
Oh, can you hear me? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Like Jamie said, we're communicating with fans more, and at the shows we have, they can DM us leading up to the show and at the show if they have any questions to provide a more contactless experience. And I would say that we've had to educate them more and push it out on socials. Hey guys, there is a new regulation. You have to order an entree with your drinks and whatnot. So we just want to push that out so fans are aware before they're heading down to the venue. And as Jamie mentioned before, we are a small staff with limited resources. So we've had to adopt many hats during these times. And marketing will be at the shows, and we've helped with marketing, but we're also on the ground running. We are also we're security, and then we're also running out food orders and just like the ops team. So
definitely, we're all hands on deck. And sorry, and one other thing that, with California restrictions changing, like most markets probably on the daily, that also means changing out all of our photos. Whatever photos are posted, at the beginning of the pandemic, masks weren't necessarily required outside of your car. Now masks are required. And there's just always something that you have to think of. And education to the audience and communication is one of our biggest challenges, and also one thing that we're super mindful of.
Jay Hewen is responsible for updating the FAQ on driveinoc.com. So he's got to have all the information and make sure that it's coordinated with Quinn and with me. And another skill that Quinn's been able to develop during this end of days sort of situation we're in right now is Photoshop. So she's become the graphics queen and has done a great job of putting together different graphic aids for us, including the virtual backgrounds that she and Jordan are using currently. So that's been a big help in communicating to the audience on throughout social media.
Yes. And Jessica, did you have a question?
Hey, I think we have some questions in the queue, but I do think it would be awesome to hear also from just the key speakers on anything they'd like to add as far as, we have a number of different event types. So anything that stood out different for you guys across the key speaker group on what you learned with fan communication, or something that you did and found that worked really well in this time frame. And if not, we definitely have a queue on some other questions that are coming in the 20 minutes or 15-ish that we have left.
There's a good question that just came in from Samantha Marker, because this is something we've never had to deal with until pandemic world. What's the refund policy if a person tests positive? Jordan, do you want to answer? You want to take that one, Jordan?
Yeah, obviously we don't want anybody coming to our events that has tested positive, or anybody that's been exposed. So we certainly don't mind, obviously we like money, but we like our health more. And we like to make sure that we provide a healthy and safe environment for everybody. So we're happy to give the refund if it means that they can stay home and protect everybody else at the same time.
So yes, we are allowing refunds.
That's great. And Vanessa, I think, to do a little bit of a shift, we have several questions that came in, some from specific venues. So we have Tom Abbott, who is the Director of Business Development at Ozarks Amphitheater, saying, we have a 10,000 seat amphitheater at the Lake of the Ozarks, and they're set to open in 21. And, the question they're dealing with, which I'm sure resonates with a lot of the attendees on the call, is are patrons going to show up? And so for them, they've looked at the drive-in concerts and drive-in events. No drive-in movie theaters, it sounds like, within 100 miles. But what is the dynamic like with the artists? Are they open to lower guarantees? Are they flexible on the riders? What kind of accommodations have we seen? And how is this, profitable? So I think this would be a great question for a number of folks. I'm sure Jordan can help, and as well as Adam. I know you and Jesse both have had artist conversations and making it work. So I think maybe Jordan, Adam, across the group of the key speakers, whoever wants to take it first.
Yeah, unless Adam wants to jump in, I think maybe Jace might be best to answer this. At least he's on the phone, with the artists and agents and managers, constantly.
Yeah, I'd say it's really artist dependent, but we've seen, on the small things like when it comes to hotels and ground, transportation and riders, artists have definitely been more flexible and more easygoing. When it gets into the, the higher level stuff, the fees and everything, as long as everything's in line with what the venue is making and profiting on, then it's not typically an issue. And especially if it's an artist that is eager to get back out and play in front of their fans again. It is difficult to convince some acts who would rather just wait it out, sit at home on their couch to get out and play shows right now. So we're not really, banging down their doors or focusing on them too much. We're really just focusing on the artists that have a good value and we're aligned with on what our goal is here, which is to bring entertainment back to the people at a reasonable fee. So if they're aligned with us, and they're typically willing to work with us on the fees, and as long as the guarantee comes down a bit, but we make sure that there's always decent back end in there. They're usually pretty happy with what we can do here.
I think that's helpful. And I think on the same theme, we're seeing a couple of different questions come in, and I can share, from our side when it comes to specific events. We continue to see at the Ticketmaster level, the drive-ins, seeing the age skewing, it's skewing younger. So younger than 55 as a rule from what we've seen across the board. And actually about 15% of the fans were 55 and older. So that was definitely skewing to a younger audience. I did have a couple of questions that came in, not only Jace, I think you could definitely take this as well as some of the others. But as you started to go up or see these events going up and on sale, and you learned what the demographic looked like, how did that shift along the way when you were saying, hey, okay, did it change the type of talent you started to book, and kind of along the lines of learning as we go? Did this come into play when you guys were booking talent?
I'll just chime in and say I think we were surprised. I don't think we could have really anticipated that it was going to skew younger. Obviously, as older folks are more in high risk groups, I think it makes sense. And in hindsight, it's like, well, obviously. But yeah, we've definitely found that. And so, the shows that we've been working on with Jace, and obviously, the EDM, it is a younger audience, and it's an audience that we didn't have previously at the Grove. So it's been a great opportunity for us to tap into a different demographic in our market than we had previously. And I think I'll maybe let the marketers chime in on exactly the demographics, but in hindsight, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I'll just jump in quickly and just say, yeah, with the electronic events, it's been super rewarding so far, and I think that we've started to skew more towards electronic at the Grove a little bit, just because of the amount of like action and attention we have in Southern California, especially. I mean, it's one of the largest dance music markets in the entire world, and it definitely skews younger into the college kids range. And since we're able to do all ages here, I think we're really able to appeal to a larger audience base than typical festivals that are 18 plus, or club shows that are 21 plus. This really like opens it up a bit. And like you said, I mean, this genre really, it's really easy to kind of get these shows together in terms of the artists. They don't need to get together a 6-person band and rehearse in order to come in and play. It's really just 1 or 2 guys, very, very simple, like our show tomorrow. But yeah, that's all I want to say about the ages.
And I've also encouraged the team, especially early on, to focus on bringing the fans in that would be mindful of our rules and our protocols. So we've stayed away from certain more high risk genres, and even with the EDM, I'm not an expert, but there's 100 subgenres within EDM, and we've been focused on the ones that we think are going to bring out the most respectful, fans that are going to abide by all the protocols, because it just takes one show and the health department shows up and it's not what they want to see, and it all crumbles. So we've been just really, really focused show by show, one show at a time.
I have a question. I'm gonna bring in Janice Jimenez. Janice, if you want to introduce yourself. I have a question regarding marketing. So I want to bring you in, and if the Nederlander marketers want to chime in as well. How are you with the, like the COVID restrictions and things like that? How are you marketing, promoting shows that it's a safe environment? Is there any new marketing?
Yeah, so I've been working primarily on Hot Wheels Ultimate Drive-Thru, and the big thing for us that it's contactless, and everywhere along our course it says we emphasize that you must stay in your vehicle, and we have security patrols making sure that people stay in their vehicle. That's the major thing. I think that's important on site to communicate. You can put it in emails, you can text it out, but enforcing it along the route is very important. And we do that pretty significantly during the event, or I've heard it on the radio as I hear our guys say, there's someone out of their vehicle, they'll go and get them and get them back in their vehicle. I don't know for Brett for Magic of Lights, I feel like they also have the same signage, and or if they've had any challenges with that. But that is key messaging to have along your courses.
Brett, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, so also what we've done for Magical Lights as well is we have set up our pricing model as such that we encourage and incentivize people by making tickets that you purchase online cheaper than purchasing at the gate. So not only is it promoting contactless ticketing, but it's also a benefit to the customer as well by purchasing in advance and online and keeping that whole entire process contactless.
That's great, Brett. And I know I worked closely with the Encore Live team, and I know you definitely, Jesse, if you want to add here your marketing strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit different. Obviously, we had different genres of music, and we were selling, what we didn't really know was in parts of the country that we didn't really know well. Some were closer to urban areas than others. And so for us, it was a big effort from learning from the first show to the last show was just about the idea about winning locally, and where you had, we were running traditional media. Radio surprisingly has done fantastically well as creating broad awareness in localized places, but buying radio in 100 different markets, but then overlaying that with very targeted, 50-mile radius on social buys, but really trying to get the message out, and then empowering the drive-in owners who come from all different facets of, how technologically in tune they are, but empowering them with assets and giving them PR opportunities to try to promote as well. So it was definitely, and then obviously the idea is that, people are dealing with different socioeconomic issues. And so we had to think about price elasticity in certain markets, which we were successfully able to kind of test out accordingly as shows went on. So, just a trickier thing around trying to win locally across 300 different venues at the same time. But overall, pretty fun.
I think timing, I have a couple of questions, Vanessa, that come in on the timing of when people were buying. Were they buying early on and were they buying later? And I think we've seen a variety with all these different event types. So I think having a quick, maybe a couple of folks weigh in from the speaker group on, when you saw, on average, we're seeing about 50% buying at pre-sale and on sale. And so I don't know if that's a theme for the majority, Vanessa, with you and the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak for the Drive-In OC shows. Most of our shows sell out at the pre-sale. So we have been very, very lucky that the on sale is usually the day that we're rolling into another show. I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that, but
Vanessa, I would just add, the on sale window is totally different than a traditional show. So instead of putting a show on sale, announcing it 3 months prior, we're doing this 3 to 4 weeks prior to the show because nobody knows what's happening in 3 months, much less a month from now, where they're going to be, what's going to be happening, all the uncertainty. So we've seen
at this point,
considerably.
The public views weeks as months and months as years. So whereas we would traditionally go on sale with something anywhere from 3 to 9 months before the show, now if you go on sale more than 4 weeks before your show, it's just too long.
And another thing,
I think that's great.
Oh, sorry. Another thing real quick to bring up is every drive-in is different. I know we do it as a per car model. It's a maximum of 5 people per car. And so the ticket prices are a little bit more because you're breaking it up basically per person in the car. I'm sure with Hot Wheels and with some of the other drive-ins, the prices might be a little bit less expensive, but it's also per car, I believe.
Yeah, we're per car for a lot of different reasons. In this environment, I don't want ticket sellers or ticket scanners to have to figure out how many people they're scanning or how many people that they need to match up. I just want them to scan the car in, A. And B, it's just a better, cleaner value as far as I'm concerned. So we have some marketing challenges in that, if somebody's $25 a person, it sounds better until you start doing the math. So Janice has got her hands full in the Hot Wheels show with that, but it's just easier. I'm 100% proponent of by the carload.
I have another question for the group from Stephanie. This is a great concept, and I am so thankful it has helped to keep the industry alive. So are we. And provide programming for the venues. These events obviously have a lot of costs associated and reduced capacity compared to a traditional concert. If a promoter is looking to execute drive-in events, what KPIs should they be focusing on? Ready?
Hey, Vanessa, I think maybe ask the question to a little bit. What's the specific question? And maybe we can.
She was just asking because with all the costs and everything, what are the KPIs that they should be focused on?
Yeah. Anybody want to take that from the speaker group on what your KPIs that you were focused on?
I would just say, and I'll let others chime in, but every event's different. We have to look at every event financially on its own, and obviously the more you can string events together, the more you can spread out those fixed costs. I mean, that's really, to put staging and sound and lights and video and all of this into a parking lot is expensive. And the more events that you can string along with it, the more you can allocate those costs and make each one more viable. So, it really just depends on an event by event basis, week by week basis. We've spent a lot more time and attention on, before we were open doing traditional shows, we would do the show. We kind of know how everything works. We know how much everything costs, and we have our model. This is like every show is its own specific model and how it works and if it's going to be successful or not. And to Jace's point, the artists have been really helpful at partnering with us to make sure that we're sort of all successful in this.
One of the other things that we did was truly to understand that startup budget. We knew we were going to have to recover it on a show by show basis, and we didn't have the money to keep taking down and rebuilding the site. So by getting a really clear picture of what our absolute startup expense gross budget was, we could amortize that over time and know.
Oh, we lost you. We lost your audio, Adam. Adam, we lost your audio, I think. Hear ya?
Well, while Adam gets I think his audio is going in and out.
Am I coming in and out?
Yep, yeah, we can hear you now. Go
Yep,
for it.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We have a really bad internet connection out in Columbia, South Carolina right now. It's not great. It's being transmitted from about 700 feet away on radio transmitters. But the key for us was to really understand what it cost us to build, and then to understand that we had to recover that cost over time by exceeding our event by event operating expenses. And so having a controlled understanding of our economics were really part of those key performance indicators. We needed to know how much above our running costs we were going to generate every single night. And it did allow us to understand where our talent budgets need to come in, our marketing budgets, how much ancillary income we had to generate per show. It was a Herculean effort in terms of constraining all those numbers, but especially in an unstable environment where things were changing on a daily basis. But I think that was one of the key things for us in order to be successful.
Yeah, I'll take a swing at it as well. I think it depends on what you think the shelf life of it is, right? For our Magical Lights drive-through, we're in that business, so I'd rather buy stuff than rent stuff. And I'm in it for the long haul, and so you can capitalize costs over time and years and multiple events. If you're, like we are, either just flipping an existing tour to something else or converting a venue into something, then it's just the math and how many months you think. I personally don't think arena touring is going to be back as soon as some people do, and so for me, I'm willing to invest a little bit because I think they're going to be doing this for a little while.
Yeah,
I would totally echo that. We've more than would have paid for some of the things that we've been renting since July, and I just kick myself looking back at it and saying we could have bought this and owned it for what we've spent now. But one of the things we initially did was a trailer stage so we could fold it up because we thought, this is only going to be going on for a month or two. So now we're looking to build a custom stage starting in January with a higher deck so we can improve the sight lines and the customer experience. So, and we are looking at now purchasing a lot of this equipment, fiber cables and all sorts of things that we would have never envisioned purchasing previously. But to your point, that's a good strategy now that we know that this is going to be continuing for some time.
I'd also say that KPIs, it depends on what your goal is. When we initially started doing free streaming services, it was the benchmark was, okay, can we increase our social following by X%? But once you start getting into paid shows and all of that, the KPI is simply, are we making money? Are we in the black? And that's number one and pretty much the only concern at that point. So
we are running out of time. So we want to be mindful of everybody's time. Thank you for joining us. And we're just going to kind of wrap real quick with, what do you all see? Do you see this continuing in 2021? Do you see it expanding? I do also want to bring up, as a publicist, for all my fellow publicists that are on this call, PR right now is really great because artists are available, so they're able to Skype and do interviews. And so there's more availability and more press interest than I've ever gotten. So don't be afraid to do a lot of press during this time. I know you need to be mindful of the climate, but there are a lot of great opportunities that you can create, as well as artist availability, which doesn't typically happen. So anyway, I want to throw it out. So I guess, Jesse, do you kind of want to tell us, what do you think 2021 looks like for drive-in, drive-out, drive-through events?
Yeah, so I think, to echo even, Ken, we're in this for the long haul, and we feel as though we're spearheading a new category of experience. And so for the time being, we're going to produce, we'll be for the first, probably at least the first half of the year, we'll be producing our own kind of large scale concerts with the biggest stars in music across some more diversified genres as we look forward. And then to the extent large scale live events or festivals start, we'll also pick up some of their additional live streams and carry those for kind of, bringing Lollapalooza out to all the the whole country on some of their different nights. So we think that this is going to be a new way that music is going to be consumed and experienced more so than consumed, I guess, going forward. And so we're excited about the future.
All right.
How about the rest of the speakers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just two quick things on my end. I think with this building on the success of what we've been doing in Anaheim, we've sort of begun to export this model nationally. So we're looking to partner with more venues in the future. Kind of back to Jace's point, we've done shows now in New Jersey, Chicago, Austin, up in the Bay Area, and we're looking to continue expanding that and sort of bringing this established model across the country. So we're looking forward to that. And then I think the second thing is just the live stream piece. Early on, we invested in the live stream, all the equipment that we need to be able to do that. So we can turn on a live stream at any show for any of our shows at no cost, which is great. So as long as the artist approves, we're streaming the show. And I think, we can obviously spend money to enhance the production, whether it's jib cameras and, different photo elements and things like that. But, we can do that at any, whatever option the artist wants to take. And I think the live streaming is going to be key moving into the future, even once we get back into the Grove. I think ultimately we'll see a model where it's every show has a physical ticket and you can come see the show in person, or it has a virtual ticket and you can enjoy it from the comfort of your couch at home. So I think that's key for us moving forward.
I know that we've committed to building concert venues that we consider that there won't have cars on them anymore. We've made a commitment that our future venues will be carless, that artists will not play to a parking lot, and that the artists and fans have as authentic an experience as they possibly can have that will emulate what they used to do without a vehicle, with full staging, video, and sound, and an actual seating cove that doesn't include a car. It's really important for us to want to get back to the real world, but just keep people a little bit distanced from each other. And that's really what we've done. We've built it in Columbia. This picture behind me, these are 850 seating coves that are each 120 square feet and can hold up to 8 people. The site here will hold 7,000 people. We have a full line array with delay speakers, 2 40 by 25 foot video, LED high def video walls, and an SL320. This same format will be replicated in at least 5 more markets by March. And we love live music. We want to get back to what we always have done. We hope to do it without parking lots. Well, I should say with cars parked in parking lots and people parked in front of a stage.
Yeah, I would say that I'm probably on the other end of the spectrum. I'm not a music guy, so I guess I have a different perspective. I'm in the car-based entertainment business forever. There's a genre of holiday light shows and other holiday experiences that can be enjoyed in the car. So I'm bullish on car-based entertainment in general. And I think that like anything else, people have gotten, when they get a taste of it, it's a different experience, but unique and enjoyable in its own way. That being said, I'm under no delusion that the Hot Wheels drive-through is long-term. As soon as arena touring gets back up and running, that's what we'll do. I'm a little bit pessimistic on when that might be.
Jace, do you have any thoughts, like artist perspectives? I know you do a lot of big festivals for 2021.
Yeah, I mean, kind of in the middle. I think, these events will come back as things start to roll out and, the vaccines come and everything, but I don't think anything large scale, at least for the first half to first 3 quarters of 2021. So I think the car-based events are a good solution for at least the next, I think, 6 to 9 months. I think towards the end of the year next year, I think we'll start to see some more boutique festivals come back in person and some medium-sized festivals. I think 2022 will be when we start to see the large-scale stuff start to roll back in. So I think we got a good runway here with the car-based music entertainment, especially.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you all for participating and all your amazing questions. Again, this will be recorded and saved on the EAMC message board. Make sure to check out EAMC on all the social platforms so you can stay connected and join us for our holiday mixer next Thursday. And I'm sure if you want to get in touch with anybody, we can connect you. Jess, do you have any final words?
No, I think that's great. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to our speakers for the key folks who spoke up and helped spark the great conversation that happened today. There are questions in the Zoom chat, so please reach out to Vanessa and or I have tried to capture those, the ones that didn't get to, and we'll follow up with the lead speakers here because I know you have more for them. So yes. Thanks all.
Thank you. Happy holidays.